as a previous judge for mining elites in Africa, can you share some of your highlights, like in terms of the content that was submitted to you? Do you still remember one or two that was like this one, you were like, oh wow, this is amazing.
So I was really honored to be able to be part of the decision making and to be an elite judge. For me, that was one of my highlights.
Yeah.
Um, and I found it really inspiring that there was such a large range of companies and people represented. And as a woman in mining, it was really good to see what inroads women are making in the industry. Um, Another highlight for me was definitely the leaders and what they were doing for their companies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then is there like a specific project that you remembered? Because I saw you mentioned something about the Greenfields project. Do you still
Yes.
remember what was the highlight for you there?
It was actually quite surprising that there were so few greenfields projects included. That's what I spent most of my career on. So for me, it was a bit surprising, and hopefully that improves in the next couple of years. And I think it is probably to do with where we are in the cycle of mining, rather than what the magazine had included.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Noleen. Um, what do you like most about the magazine itself, Mining Elites in Africa, and what would you like to see more in the edition?
For me, it was really great to be given a snapshot of what's happening in the mining industry. So it brought together all the companies and all the leaders and the project in one place so that I could compare what was happening, which means that, quite a lot of the time you go through reports and posts and you get sidetracked and you don't actually have a great idea of what's happening. But by putting it all into one magazine, it does bring everything together. So for me, that was probably the nicest thing about having the magazine.
Oh, wow. And if you were chosen again to be a judge, would you do it?
Absolutely. It was such an honor.
Okay, thank you so much. And what tips or advice do you have for those who will be looking at entering this year for 2025?
Right. So I do think that it's important to highlight whatever your company is doing that's different to other companies. And I think it's also really important to include a quote that's memorable to the judge and to the audience, because for me, that's one of the things that stood out, what was different for the company, what was different for the leader. And then some of those quotes just stuck in my mind. So I think that was very important. And I would recommend anybody applying to just think about that when they putting their report, their information together.
Okay, it sounds like you enjoyed the leaders more than the other content that was submitted.
I enjoyed both, but for me it was I was just fascinated by the strong leaders and what they're doing with their companies and also what they're doing within the communities they're working in.
Yeah.
I do think that is im improving year on year. When I started working, we definitely really didn't think about the communities, ESG and stuff like that. And I just find it fascinating how it's all developed. And yes, you're right, how the leaders are driving these things.
Yeah. And when you look into the future of mining, do you think it's in good hands?
I think it's in good hands. Yes, absolutely. We have so many new up and coming, inspiring young people coming into the industry. I think it's in very good hands.